Good morning, Azeroth. It is the 26th of March 2025. Grab your morning beverage and welcome to the stream. Today we'll be banging out our weekly quests, clearing some world quests, and gearing up a little bit as we continue to rep up with the various cartels of Undermine. Without any further ado, let's get stuck in. Hope you're all doing well today, about halfway through the week. Take it steady, keep yourselves hydrated. You've got this. Alrighty, let's nip by the Great Vault first, make sure we don't forget. See if we get a gear upgrade. Still a little under the weather today, but we're getting there. Eventually. Alright, what have we got? Hero neckpiece, already got. Hero trinket is an upgrade, and it's an equip one, which we'll take. I know tier bonuses are obviously good, but again, for the sake of item level, we will eventually, with the catalyst, get our full tier set, so we just need to focus on item level for now. We'll go with the trinket. Even if it's a suspicious energy drink. I prefer passive abilities than use because I'm a lazy bugger. Alright, let's go see what the various weeklies are, what direction it pushes us in. Oh, it's just favourite. Undermine world quests, we can do that one.
Do you also hear Beladar's song?
Mythic dungeons for this one. We won't be getting that one.
We are the Titan's bedrock and foundation.
And that being... It's a cache, not a pinnacle piece, so we're not going to lose out on our... coffer keys. Do we get a catalyst bit today? We do not. Okay, that means it'll be next week then. Quickly nip by Tanib and Garib, as we do.
We are the Titan's bedrock.
You son of a bitch. You're not getting a North Stone from me. Absolutely not. Right, let's get going. Yeah, we'll take it leisurely. Come back for the ones on this side at some point. Grab up the others, let's just go and pick our cartel for the week. We will do the fourth, which we haven't done yet, which will be Steam Weedle.
Temp workers to pick up odd jobs. See if you can lend a hand.
Yeah? Watch your back.
There we go, slowly build them up. If I was putting proper time into my ults at the same time, probably be going up faster, but that's alright.
Won't find better.
Crestmith, very nice.
Come back for more.
Do the shipping and surge pricing at half past.
Thanks for stopping by.
Okay, got one pinnacle cache there, one from the surge pricing, one from the weekly in the zone, and then, as we don't have one like the Delves quest last time, we will run over and do Awakening the Machine, just to grab our fourth.
I'm out of range.
Good rare doggo. Keep building up that market research. Another rare over there. We'll get him. If I could drive. Lovely jubbly. Seems like the only car pieces we get from rares were the hand crank and the steam broil bit. I don't need to worry about those. Head to that scrap.
Whatever you find, you keep. Get shoveling.
Go, robot. We did manage to take down the underpin yesterday. The Endel boss on the easier difficulty. Which was an interesting fight. There was a lot of bits and bobs going on. It took us a couple of attempts, but nothing crazy. Eager to see what it's like on the harder difficulty. And give it a go. Once we get a week's worth of tier 11 delves out of the way and can show we can do them.
You're gonna let that stop you? Fix it!
Always a lot of folks about on the reset day, always very busy.
Out of here.
Again, it was a good fight and I very much enjoyed it. I still wish base delves offered a little more in terms of what the bosses can throw at you. But time will tell. As the delve system gets improved upon, we go across expansions. What's that shaman wearing? Is that just rockets on the shoulders? That's pretty good. I don't know why they keep the timer going when you hit 500. Maybe it's so people can show up. Keep getting our cola cans.
Shovels down. We'll come back to this one later.
Many random enemies. So many players. It's just a meatball. Go. A gunk thing. Keep it out from the next ones. Let's head over to the next world quests. Got our world saw memories where we can bob in our... I didn't check last time. I only noticed that doing it on the higher difficulty didn't necessarily get me more of what we need any quicker. Okay, Foreman. Ow. Started a new game yesterday evening as well. It was Kill Night, which was a very hectic, pretty stressful roguelike where you're running through killing a load of demons, getting various weapon unlocks as you go to change up how you play. It's hard to put into words the retro style of it mixed with this really fascinating soundtrack. Grunge is the word I'd use, but I know grunge is a genre of music of its own that I know not about, so hard for me to give a distinct classification, but it was a great deal of fun. And there's a lot to unlock, more difficulties to get through. I did realise at the end of the stream, oh, there is a whole mechanic from the tutorial that I've just completely forgotten. This year we're going through all the tutorials straight away. I knew some it wouldn't stick. To be fair, I am surprised how much did. We made it through the first 3 levels on the middle normal difficulty. Got some unlocks as well. And it's like you have to do specific like weapon-based objectives as you go. So something like use this new Thorns armor you've unlocked, you know, where it does damage to enemies when you dash into them to kill 75 enemies in a single run, that kind of thing. Use the environment to get 200 kills in a run. And I like stuff like that where you get a bit of multi-focus going on. And it does let you use some of the currency you earn through playing to either unlock bits of bits of lore in their little codex, or it lets you push some of those unlocks a little faster, which I really appreciate, especially for some of the challenges specifically I was struggling with more than others. So it kind of lets you circumvent that, which I really like.
It's too far away.
But we'll be getting on with that for a week or so. See how many difficulties end up getting unlocked and how far I can push it. It's very snappy runs. You know, each run's about under 5 minutes. Moves very quick. I say that soundtrack is just absolutely, as a chat member said, it absolutely slaps. There we go. Otherwise, again, we have one to stop next on the list, which will be a completely opposite change of pace. That's going to be slow. It's going to be taking it steady. And written by one of the folks who wrote Stanley Parable, so I'm very eager to see the story there, and to be about an adventurer who struggles to handle the cozy life of a farming simulator. I'm sure it'll be quite something. For the base version of this, I got 25 to 50. I've never looked up the math for getting our world soul bits and bobs. I don't actually know if the more difficult one's worth doing. We'll see by the end of it. I actually need to bear it in mind rather than just forgetting. Something I'm still not entirely used to on stream, despite how long we've been going now, is setting myself an objective and then bearing it in mind, not forgetting 2 minutes later, especially when it comes to numbers and that kind of thing. Well, the criticism of these little events is stop having me fight the regular enemies that are slowing down what I need to engage with.
I need to get closer.
Bounced around all over the place. Get out of the golden duke, please. $26 seconds. That bar filled. Don't forget to loot people. We need that market research. I think it was in Talius Nevertell's video. He said you just needed something like... about 8,000? It might have been 80,000. A huge number of the market research for said Black Trench Coat. And there are a couple of farming areas that folks are gravitating towards where enemies respawn quicker, as they always do. I got 140 keys. Okay, so it is better to do that one. Scrap piles all the way over there. But let's head down here. This one first.
You will never believe the kind of chemicals people throw away. Get into that junk and cook up some free potions.
I like that the world quests are changing based on the cartels and we're actually getting different things to do each time. Look at all this junk. I'm sure you can find some great stuff to alchemize. And sell the results at a significant markup. Let me know when you want to get started. Sure.
Keep things fresh.
Let's see what kind of junkyard juice we synthesize with all this garbage. Oh, it's one of these where it's asking you to pick for specifics. I just saw that. Do I get a do-over? Pause. Go again.
It's all coming together.
Okay. Got a dog, pump, sludge, and cooler. Oh, did you see it turn purple? That's good. Don't put that dialogue in when it doesn't actually turn purple. Put some gas in. Acrid. Just how Mama likes it. Here, right here. Where'd this dragon come from? Double hot dogs and gas. But when they first did, I think one of these first came in Suramar, when you were trying to make wine, something like that. It could have been even earlier than that. That's just where my memory goes for the first use of this kind of quest.
Katniss? Don't worry about it. I'm sure one of these fantastic elixirs you helped make.
It's interesting to think about over time when it comes to quest creation and quest design. How to make something unique when you've got to fill a world with not just regular quests, but world quests, and then obviously your main quests and all that jazz.
Trying to imitate my work.
Whatever you find, you keeps.
That's the MMO joke. Go out, kill 10 boars. When you get into the nitty-gritty of actually design for it, how much can you do? It's always nice to see when they do change it up and they stick to it. Or something. That's why you see something repeat and come back over time. Just let me live in the comments. Just give it some thought for a moment. Like, right, you're tasked with making a new MMO style of quest. Like, where do you go with it? What are you doing with it? How do you make it more interesting? And you've got to bear in mind the development time. You're not making Witcher 3 Baldur's Gate level of side quests. You're making something that someone's going to have to do multiple times, especially when it comes to world quests and stuff like that. At some point, doing so in a very heavy narrative way becomes impossible. Because just by the nature of what it is week to week, you're not going to be able to achieve that. At least not in a way I could see. I think you have stuff like, speaking of roguelikes earlier, something like Hades builds over time, run after run, but it's a lot more going through a full cycle of the game loop rather than just I am picking up quest, doing it and moving on, especially when most folks just want to do so quicker than ever. I know, it's a fascinating little thought process. It's one of the reasons why I think people struggle making MMOs and why they don't tend to last very long. I still don't know what it takes in these trash piles for it to spawn that big gold fella. Lovely jubbly. Throw some potion makers. At least it changes up the world quest week to week. Well, no, restaurateur. I don't believe I've ever had a quest to fight these restaurateurs, but they're just about here in this area. Hands off, that recipe's patented. Well, if the owner is deceased. Sure, that's how patterns work. But we're adventurers, we don't care. We're roaming barbarians.
Cooking.
Silent ne'er-do-wells who enforce our will upon the world. If you know, you know.
Need a solution?
Oh, it's a pet battle quest. We're good.
Need a solution?
Oh, let me find one more barrel. Seems like every time they spawn an enemy. Ah. Fancy pot. That looks like something you slap in your player house. Detailed texture on just the symbol on the front.
And good riddance. There's only one genuine noggin fogger potion maker in this town.
Grab a bit of dumpster. Bit of ore as well. Much rarer these days. Singular market research, you hate to see it. Yes, please. Approach the crouch. Very silly. Yep, let's head up to this race. God damn it. You're just driving a little bit of poison, your whole car gets thrown over. We're still bumping around a bit, but otherwise I feel like we're doing alright with the drive mechanic. I just wish the customization elements of it were available a little sooner. I've only really had the two from killing rares. It seems like all of the others are basically from doing the rep. There might be some maybe doing mythics, maybe in the raid, but could be wrong on that front. Takes a while to earn. Again, I'm sure lots of folks are very shite. Well, that's going to be a garbage time. I've really gone through and grinded up all these reps and done so across various alts and maxed them all out. Again, I'm not in such a hurry. Nor do I mind. I think the biggest problem with Drive for me is the fact it is slow to get those upgrades, and B, I'm not really going to need them after Undermine, you know? It's not a zone where necessarily, other than getting that black trench coat, I'm not going to be coming back here. And they're never going to use this car again, so the incentive to make sure we go through and get it all upgraded just isn't there. Anti-freeze shredder. Oh, that means freeze things then, I assume. How very silly. Including locals. And flamingos. For some reason. Oh, we're just testing it. Well, they are called test subjects. Which we can assume means they volunteered. Few more.
Good work. I'll be sure to send someone with the Defroster Pro we're testing later.
Right, that one up at the back should be the jetpack race.
Hey, you! We got a mech that's out of control here.
Oh my god.
Use a few hands to shut it down. You in?
I'm not in. I'm getting stuck. I'm bouncing around the place. Oh, there's that other weekly up here. Again, I wish these things were marked on the map.
What now? I'm on it.
Can't start that one. To the pet store. The fact they've got the Hunter Legion mount there, I'm like, Ever give more of that model? I'd love to have it as a mount on my paladin. Gold headpiece going with silly rocket shoulders. That's quite nice there on the sham. And the Undermine sets aren't necessarily my cup of tea. Goblin specific stuff, but the raid sets, mixing and matching is quite nice. Okay, steady. We've buggered these before. It's the turning point. I've got to remember Flapper's arms. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Why does it do the... We got gold and the noise came up. Oh, quest failed. What do you mean quest failed? Pop by the world boss while we're here. Oh no, shipping and handling first.
I'm all for a little entrepreneurship, but unauthorized reselling is just low. Go teach those scalpers some manners.
I assume it is just... Yep. Hasn't popped up on the middle of the screen yet, but... Get your papers.
You did the job, and you didn't total your car. I call that a success.
Needs a name.
Interesting.
Alright, we just pick up books about the place. It's gonna be your access again, isn't it? Yep.
Good job, Dollface. You made sure I got my cutting.
It's a daft joke, but nonetheless. Next one. There's like a pseudo mini world quest thing that you mainly do when these surges are available. I like it a lot. I don't know how you replicate a similar system in other areas when you're not doing your driving, but... Brush some roaches. I suppose if you were dragon riding around, you could do something similar.
Toots. I hope your cut's enough to pay all of your traffic tickets.
I always try and think, right, where are we going next patch? What mode of transportation will we be going about with? We're going to the somewhere ethereal base next time. I'll be getting around. We're going to be flying on their planet. We're going to be using some kind of void tears or wormholes. Like, what's that going to mean? Try and think back to like when the ethereals were first introduced in like Burning Crusade and Neverstorm and all that. Pockets of different areas. Means they might be able to get away with a lot more environment variety than might consider initially. I'll follow the arrow. Give. Or don't. Game. Robbed. Why? I've been robbed. Trying to get into combat to see if that resets it. Otherwise, there goes my streak. Save that B. It's the jaunty drive music for it as well, though. There we go. Get out of here. Right, give me my goddamn box. Crap. Right, I'll cancel them re-up then.
That job's just your style. Burn rubber, honey.
Alright, fine, fine, fine. Murder. Much easier job.
You did the job.
Beautiful.
And you didn't total your car. I call that a success.
Thank you, Tallulah. Always got to make sure we loot them. We need that research. You keep earning that trench coat. Every single job is one of these. That's 150 from different players going around. I'm just trying, like, you see every single person zooming around in the car at the same time doing the same thing. Makes me worried how when you get to this being solo in the future, you know, if there's less people here and you're trying to do your quests. My dear sweet Daisy wandered all the way up the sewer pipes. Get the poor thing down from... Oh, it's a crab. Yep, sure, I can try and get your crab. These other buggers leave me alone. Imagine a crab's easier to get out of a tree than a cat. Okay, line it up and... Buggered it! Oh, pardon me. Swigging my beverage in a moment. Let me just... Gotta save this crab. These little goblin homes are so jam-packed with so many stuff. Again, it's that player housing node in the back of my head just pinging relentlessly. Oh, gotcha. Here you go, Daisy. Down you get. Oh.
Good job, Dollface. You made sure I got my cut of your tip, right?
His dear goldfish has been flushed. Is there any saving him? I believe he got eaten by something. My mum flushed my goldfish because I didn't do my chores. Think you can fish him out of the sewer? That's a really cool parent. Would you let your fish child do your chores? Into the toilet it goes. Painful display. There you go, Gary the goldfish. Gary,
Right
you're
work,
alive.
Fritz.
I missed you,
I hope
buddy.
your cut's enough to pay all of your traffic tickets.
Okay, we don't need to get the full streak of 10, but we do need to keep going till that surge is full. Might line up be the same anyway. Pop some crystals. I bet the niffin are just about in here. And a lot of NPC follow through, which I'm sure we're going to see more of in the World Soul Saga. I would hope.
Record time, sweetie. I'm moving you to the top of my Rolodex.
You say that to everyone, Nanny. It's alright. Oh, I forgot to talk to that goddamn robot on the top floor. Or does that checklist... Does that change each week? How does this work? I don't quite know. Maybe every time we finish a checklist, we go and get another one. Here, have some towels.
Was
What's the damage?
Its towels are incredibly useful.
Welcome to the best place ever.
You go and you get some towels. Need one more resident. One more resident who wants a towel.
What's the news?
There you go. One more.
Honey, sweetie, baby, sugar plum angel face. Thanks for completing that job. My pocketbook thanks you too.
Hey, you! We got a mech that's out of control here.
Yeah, hang on about your mech. Hang on.
To sort it out. You in?
One goblin's tragic oil spill is another's marketing opportunity.
Yeah, hang on, Noggin Fogger. Hang on, let me just... There we go. Bob some smugglers. Beautiful.
Dollface, honey bunches, you're my favorite driver. Hey, just don't tell the rest of them I said that, okay?
There you go. Knock off on the job. Right, we got one more scrap thing to grab. A few more world quests to grab on the meantime. Now we can grab the boss on our way through. I don't immediately fall into the goddamn water. Get off me, fish. I'm sure there was a world quest around here as well, because Noggin Fogger wanted something. Mean some oil. Have a swig of his beverage. Make sure you're all doing the same out there. Keep yourselves hydrated. Pyrophromy high pressure spray of proprietary cleaning chemicals. There you go, be clean. Hey, another fine steam weedle product. This is how you save the environment. Give everyone a super soaker. Which is less of a super soaker and more apparently magic cannon from my hand. Is that Samurai Suds? Talk about product placement. Well, it's goblin work after all. I feel like throughout Undermine they've done a good job of keeping that the old spirit of them whilst giving them a lot more depth, but they're still kind of holding on to that view of we want some money. I know, you feel it differently when it comes to Gazlowe and stuff like that, but then every other quest is Goblin's like, right, we need this money. I don't know if that was necessarily the goal. Scalpers. Graceful. Get rid of them. May Nintendo have a plan for the Nintendo Switch to avoid scalpers. And of how they've sorted their upcoming log of consoles, but how it works out remains to be seen. I don't believe, other than having more stock than is probably feasible for most companies, I don't really know what the answer would be. Again, there's always been scalpers, it's just, especially over the pandemic, it just exploded in a way that got really unpleasant. People buying up graphics cards and consoles. Even before that, you had folks doing it for shoes and stuff like that. Designer goods, but I know, hate to see it. Your average individual cannot contend with a pile full of bots, you know? That's your goods, a couple more scalpers.
Hey, resellers are the worst of the worst. Come up with your own product.
You really took that personally. See if we can grab the world boss. Hey, there's some going.
Hey, you! We got a mech that's out of control here. Could use a few hands to sort it out. You in?
One thing that because the raid is this whole area, they reused the environment, which I get. I was more annoyed that for the delve they reused it as well. Don't get me wrong. It's a fancy big arena. You want to use your fancy big arena. And it did mean there was more space to fight around than there was for Zekfia, but I don't know, it just feels like a waste when you want things to feel unique for different types of content. World boss I think is alright. The delve boss though, I kind of wish it was a little more bespoke. Don't fall into the bombs. Nearly forgot. Pretty messy behind me. I think if it hits again, I just bubble immediately. Okay, it's not fanning flames, it's the other one. Not that one. Find the red. As the frame rate goes, no, there's too much. Okay, put one on. Ooh, put more on. Wait. The moment it happened the first time, so where every single time we've come back here, it won't be one-shotting me again. No, 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 no. Down it goes. Ooh! That fused Jinner back to there. Swap the letters around. Dinner jacket for the warband. Not quite a trench coat, but I'll take a bit of BOE. Beautiful. Alright, we've one more scrap job to do. The weekly assignment. See if we hit that scrap down there in time. And then we have the quest that takes us either to the Ringing Deeps or through to Zuldazar. Oh, 4 seconds left. Very kind. No, no giant gold dude this time. It's that done and sorted though. Ooh. Another currency. Thank God they're all in the currency tab pretty much straight away this time though, rather than being a big old pile that's slowly filling up as bags. Well, we are still getting stuff that fills up as bags, the different like usable items, which I don't know, nothing out in the world screams to me, oh, you should really be using this. Like, you're gonna be in trouble enough to warrant using them. More BOE stuff, not bad from a dumpster. I'm trying to hit these shiny trash cans where we can, just because, again, it's a little bit more of that market research. Just a little bit. It's so much, though, to get that goddamn trench coat. Alright.
Fuse is sending their best to try and make trouble for us.
Gotta kill the big robots.
How many of their best do you think adds up to one of you?
Not enough, Gazlo. Not enough. Much prefer the weekly where they just give us a sniper. And I still feel like the Galagio as a location, so much more they could do with it. I reckon they do what Final Fantasy has. The Golden Saucer. Big old place players can just go and play a load of mini games. I only went there a few times in my brief sojourn with Final Fantasy XIV, but really liked it just as a concept and as a place to play mini games. In theory, Blizzard could certainly go back and be like, this place opens up into said casino. Here's a load of mini games. Here's a load of stuff from various expansions that you don't get access to. It'd be probably a long time from now, because I can't imagine them coming back to Undermine anytime soon, but love to see it. Would you out there let me know? How should they be reusing old content other than just making old raids a little more desirable again? I think that's the main thing. So much dev time goes into a raid and the environment they're in. I think more evergreen features and areas is certainly the goal that they've had as we've been getting through from Dragonflight. Again, it's hitting those development milestones whilst doing the 8-week patch cycle. You know, you've got to keep that cadence, and on the meantime, you've got to keep doing evergreen stuff. But all the other side modes, like your plunder storms and your remixes, don't add on to the base game in the same way. Oh, hello, Rare just spawned on top of them. It's not very nice. Do you get a team like that to work? Well, I say a team like that. Again, got to remember, the team got fired at some point. You get folks to work on side areas like that. It's not always just a matter of staffing up either. There's so many resources you can throw at something when it all has to work together in a game that's 20 years old and the code can just be like, whack, and decide to chuck it in the can. Beautiful. Alright, let's go hand all these in. Then we'll take a quick bio break, and then we will get onto the ones leading into another area. Schmacks, I've got some stuff for you. And then for the other pinnacle chest,
Come back for more.
we will quickly run by Awakening the Machine. Ooh. We can now get Hyena. 10 blacksmithing knowledge, that's pretty good. We'll grab that while we're here. 10 mining knowledge, do the same. Lovely.
Won't find better.
Remember, put those in. Nice. And the mining one. Still taking a while. I've not really been keeping up to it on my alts either. I wish there was more baked-in catch-up for that stuff. Trinket I don't need. That's okay. Also good. Another key, though. We're getting to that point where I'm outdoing the number of keys we spend. We only spend 4 keys a week. Completed my checklist. So, do I hand that into chat? How does this work? Hey, chat. I've completed my list to turn in. Cheddar, look. Now what? I'd like a new checklist. And it gives you a new checklist. And then... Is this just something you can do on repeat to farm Valor Stones then? Like, you can't do the side of a cartel one more than once, because you can only pick that once a week. Looks like a way you can just... It's not a huge number of Valor Stones, but at least it's a way if folks really, really want to farm them, you can keep going. Alright. Then that quest there gives us our 3rd pinnacle chest. And as we say, we just need Awakening the Machine for the last one. Hello, you lot. Where are we going today?
You looking for trouble?
The Casual Coast! We are indeed heading to Zoldazar.
At your service. Shipping and receiving.
Beautiful.
Farewell.
Alright. As I say, before we head over, take a quick bio break. So stretch your legs, refill your beverage. I'll be back with you in just a few minutes. I'll see you soon. And we're back. Thank you for your patience. Check in on the cat. He's refusing to eat a breakfast.
What's the news?
For those who followed, she had a steroid injection the other week. Trying to figure out what's wrong with her. Been losing a lot of weight. Have to give it like another 4 weeks before we can do any more tests or else. We tried to swap to some more healthy food and she was like, no, I'm not about it. Where's my old jelly-covered stuff? So at this rate, we'll swap back. She barely ate all yesterday either. Gets worrying. Even if it's not as healthy, I'd rather she ate something at all than just ignored food completely. Right, let's crack on with these 4 then. Starting with Shark. Ooh, quick. There we go. Again, always lots of folks about on the reset. There goes the Shark. Why the Shark is swallowing Kajamite, we've no idea. Well, then immediately people are over to the next one. Bomb crabs. Gotta get that crab meat. Oh, it did not land fast enough. Too many cooks. And these crabs, for whatever reason, don't count. It has to be explodey crabs in these pens. There you go, Bear. Hit that one. You're all good. Oh, the first one dropped. Oh, that's why there's different versions of crabs. Here's your meat. Delicious. Do I wait? Yeah, I just wait here. When folks are gathering up the other ones. Enough planes about where they're spawning that little bit faster. Talked about it before, but there's a D&D actual play called Worlds Beyond Number that I'm gonna shill a little bit. I'm gonna highly recommend because that story's really been ramping up in a way where there's a lot of long-term stuff paying off. I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of the folks of the various D&D stories these days, your Dimension 20s, your Crit Roll and that, you've got Erica Ishii, Lou Wilson, Bria Ironcart, and Brennan Lee Mulligan doing a little story together. It's been going for a good while now. And you can get most of the episodes for free on your various podcast apps or on YouTube. And I highly recommend the story. I don't want to give out any spoilers, but it's less of straightforward D&D, like if you were sitting down and watching an episode of Crit Roll or Dimension 20, but it's... God damn it, Nest. More of a radio play. Like, if you ever listen to... It was my first introduction to Lord of the Rings, was like the BBC radio play of The Hobbit way back when. Absolutely adored it growing up. I'm a big fan in this household of audio. Well, what are nowadays more audiobooks, but were just a load of stuff on cassettes and CDs way back when. Don't mean a tangent, but I remember very vividly I had some cousins stay over and we had an old cassette tape that had Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and we realised it had a record button on it. And we all thought we were really clever. Like, we can record over the story. So that old version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory just has us and various cousins at a really young age, you know, like under 9. Just recording over various bits and saying, "You full garbage." So you're going through and you're listening to the story about Charlie going through, I don't know, like that bit with Veruca Salt or what have you, and then suddenly it'll come from, "Charlie went and I need a poo!" And you're like, what the f were you doing, young idiots? Makes me laugh though. I wonder what ever became of said old cassette player. It's one of them dumb things you do as a kid. It meant whenever you went to try and listen to it in the future, it just became completely untenable. Like, we're never listening to this again. You cannot get the story because it is full of garbage. But it was nostalgic in a way. Joy of every CD there. We never did it again. Didn't even want to ruin the stories after that. There's all kinds of unrealistic, like Terry Pratchett stories. Those are a good one. You had the fella in Blackadder who plays Baldric all the time. He narrated a lot of those. And he's got a very calming voice for it. So going through Terry Pratchett's Discworld with those were pretty good. There was a Lord of the Rings, like, I don't know if you could call it, I suppose satire, called Muddle Earth, where it was just that, but ridiculous and silly. Anyone who's ever read Muddle Earth might know, but it was, you just look at the map, there's just a place called Here Be Dragons, and that was literally a zone, for lack of a better term. Places in the borders where there were just dragons. Very daft. Dark Lords, Lord of the Spoons or something. The cutlery was involved. It's been a long time. Series of Unfortunate Events, that was another good one. It took years for that to get adapted into both the Netflix show and the film that came out. Which I remember fondly for Billy Connolly going and being Uncle Montgomery, but you had Tim Curry reading those, and that was an absolute delight. I always get a little misty-eyed how he ended up. I know he's still alive and he's recovered quite a bit, but it's not like he's been, as far as I'm aware, working like he once did. It was great to see him in the Red Alert video games. You know, there's always that clip where, because those that you'd have the, what's it called, the FOV, like live action moments at the side of the screen when you're going about your RTS business. Memory serves, he was like a Russian scientist or some sort, or a general who was always with scientists. And it's that clip of like, well, Commander, I'm going to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space! And just him, he's loving it. He's absolutely loving it. The delivery and his expressions, it's a delight. Even if it's not a game you've ever played or intend to, I highly recommend going and looking up Red Alert FOV cutscenes, because my goodness, absolute delight. Not reason. Beautiful. Alright, and that just leaves us with Awakening the Machine. To grab our last pinnacle quest. It's the quickest one to do. We've lodged our complaints with this activity enough times. I wish it was a little harder. That's the end all and be all. At least this patch they've added a mode where it's a little faster. Like they go through the waves back to back rather than taking a pause between each one. Figured it'd be fastest to get there through this. Wish that little knoll camp down here. Series of side quests, a place called Campalot. It was just, you know, a King Arthur reference and all of that, but it was kind of a one and done side quest, which is a shame. I kind of wish there was a world quest I could go back and hang out with the gnolls. Gnolls? Kobolds. There we go. I know for Awakening the Machine, it gives me a toolbox every now and then that I never figured out how to use and apply to the mode. Can't imagine it was a more difficult thing. I know a lot of people keep doing it in hopes of getting a mount. It's like one of those big earthen mechs that you can get. Again, I've always been more of a transmog getter than a mount getter. Which these days is pretty good, because there's plenty of transmog to be got. All the more reason if, when we eventually get to player housing, we can put a load of it up on display. Need to go back and start doing a load of the old raids. It's been a while since I've done transmog runs. No, photo taker. I don't need you much. We did a little bit of trial of style. Just sucks it's not going to be back for 6 months. Heyo, Kuldrus. Let's get it done. 20 waves. Let's do some maintenance. Absolutely picked up the quest. We're all good to go.
Let's get this done right.
Challenge. In quotation marks.
While I commune with the machine.
I like the idea in WoW of doing a wave-based thing. I think you could just expect. I think the problem is when you're looking at how they're wanting to do more evergreen content. When you do it like this, and it's specific to a zone in a way that's very focused on the culture at the time. It's hard to then say in another expansion, oh, come back and help us, by the way. Things are still buggered here. I mean, in theory they could, but I just don't see them doing it, unfortunately. It's the kind of thing where, with Shadowlands and how rough the perception of Torghast is, I love roguelites. I love that kind of gameplay. I love the repeatable stuff. I want WoW to just have a Torghast equivalent where you can level alts. I think that would be awesome. But I don't think they want to touch it with a barge pole. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of worry about where the player base would ever be to accept that again. I think the easy answer is you just simply don't tie it to player power. Make it a way to level, put some more transmog and stuff through. And I know it does have some rewards. It's part of the reason why we've said repeatedly I'd love to see a Shadowlands remix to get all of those delicious transmogs. I think as a way to level, it's prime real estate, for lack of a better term. I think they've just got a bigger problem when it comes to leveling. Which, unless you're getting someone to go straight through Dragonflight and into the War Within, it's really difficult at the moment to go back and play the old content in a way that's satisfying. Especially for a newer player. Because you level so quick, you don't get much of the story. You don't get any of, like, the epilogues that were in all of the raids back then. You know, it's only recently we've started getting the story mode stuff to make seeing that without a raid group doable. And unless they do something bespoke, like create a specific story mode for the game to go through each expansion, which is, again, a lot of dev work that older players are very unlikely to see or use much of. I think it'd be worth doing, but again, limited resources and development time, where can you put your work? And I think rather than do something like a Torghast 2.0 where you could level alts, they're more likely to completely redo a story-based leveling experience. Which, again, I'd be all for. I'd love to do some streams going back through all the old stuff in a way that was a lot more engrossing. I think the biggest problem I have with it is when you hit like level 60-ish, I think it is these days, maybe 58 or something, the game just has Chromie pop up and be like, well, you've done with the story, it's time to leave and get on with the new stuff. You should probably leave. And then you go and do another level, you know, you're trying to do a bit of story. And you get one more level and Chromie's like, right, I'm pulling you out. Like, you know, it's not even optional that you can be like, no, I'm not worried about XP, I'm not worried about leveling, I want to do the story of at least the zone I'm in. But you're just yeeted out of it anyway, and it must be so jarring for a new player. It's always something you've got to bear in mind. As someone who's played the game for nigh on the 20 years it's been out, even the more solo-focused that I am, you know, it's the MMO genre as a whole. Like, you take the screen and everything on it and going on, and for anyone who's played WoW and MMOs, you go, right, I get it. You know what I mean? And you can say a lot about WoW and how much easier it is to play these days, especially when you consider Classic, which I don't necessarily think was much harder rather than time-consuming. I don't think those are the same. You know what I mean? A lot of people equate them to be the same. Another tangent. But just getting into an MMO is difficult, and especially when it's a game that's been out for, as we say, 20 years, trying to encourage all these folks who are playing the live services every week. You've got your Fortnite, you know? What's encouraging you to come and try this instead? And actually, War Within did pretty well for WoW. Player housing is going to do well, all on its own merit, because folks love that kind of customizational stuff. I'm really excited for it. But it's not like that'll change a lot from the base gameplay level. You know what I mean? There's a disconnect there. I think it's hard to get people. It's why people don't really make MMOs these more. It's a huge money investment. That's why we saw in like WoW's quote-unquote glory days, loads of developers trying to get a piece of that pie, and it crushing companies and games. Because it's a bloody nightmare. And you see microcosms of it all the time nowadays, with everyone releasing more live service style games, and games just dying left and right because you're in a space where there's only a limited number of people in the world to play. And when their time's already spoken for, you know, I don't know if I'd be playing WoW as like a new player today without the years I've put into it. Oh, holy shit, we got them out. Huh. Nice. Not the biggest fan of WoW's mechs, but that's a pretty nice looking mount. GG, we take it. Thank you, Culdrus.
Time to fix things. Stay safe.
But it's the same thing with any live service. The moment you not necessarily make it a part of your identity, though, especially when you're younger, there's a lot of that goes into it. It becomes really difficult to force yourself to do other things. Because you've only got so much time, you know? Like, it's easier just to hurf back to Donegal. I remember when I was trying to play Warframe, I was trying to play For Honor, I was trying to play Destiny, I was trying to do a bit of WoW still. And they were all saying, come and do these daily quests, come and do this battle pass, come and play these bits, and keep playing. Because otherwise these rewards that are currently available will be gone forever. And that varies game to game, but generally speaking, that's the approach a lot of the time. And it got to a point where I had to stop caring about that and or stop playing those games, because you can't. It just becomes like a job in its own. It's not fun anymore, you know? That's why, despite the fact I stream WoW 5 days a week, I'm trying not to force myself to do like 3-hour streams every morning all the time outside of when brand new content comes out, because I just burn myself out, you know? Doesn't matter how much you enjoy, whether it's casually or more intensely enjoy a game.
My directive has been...
You're seeing a microcosm of that with like Monster Hunter Wilds. A lot of people saying, I'm unsatisfied with the amount of content because I spent the last 2 weeks playing every day for over 8 hours and I've run out of stuff to do. And you're like, well, you spent the last 2 weeks playing 8 hours a day. Of course you've run out of stuff to do. You know? Your average individual ain't gonna be at that point. And at least to be fair to Wilds, they announced that their new content yesterday, which, my goodness, it's a lot. And I'm really excited for it, to be fair.
My directive has been fulfilled.
It's nice to say, I don't know, there's a lot in terms of the Evergreen space WoW still needs to tackle and accomplish, but for my go-to and coziness, WoW's still top of the list. And it probably will be until we get the dire scenario of another Shadowlands one day, which is always a possibility, but we'll see what the Warsaw Saga holds, what the future holds. I think for today, though, with all that said, can't believe I tangented for so long. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed yourselves, don't forget to hit that like button. Help push the video through the algorithm so more folks can come hang out, play some games with us. Subscribe for more content here on the channel. On the weekdays, we're at 9 AM GMT with World of Warcraft. And between 4 and 6 in the evening, we start up on the evening stream with other games. Currently, we're going through Kill Night, which very intense, very fast, really enjoying it. We'll see how long we get through the various difficulties. And you can find playlists to all the other games we've already covered right here on the channel to binge to your heart's content. So until next time, folks, much love, take care. Pardon me, take care, and bye-bye.